come this way. So this is our day room. We do a lot of different trainings on the boards. These are the things that have been left over from the previous crews that they've been talking with them. We like to leave them on so that the next oncoming crew can talk about them, look at them as well, and then we go on to whatever our other ones are.
Fairly complex.
This is a small portion of the engineers' training. They're just talking about a small section of it.
All right.
Breaking it down. This is where we eat, prepare our meals. We're here for 24 hours, so we will get our meals from the stores. We all pitch in, and then we cook. One of us cooks, all three of us cook. We rotate. It's not a real big deal.
All right.
So we have captain's offices and work offices. This is the typical captain's office for you.
All right.
And we got our sleeping quarters.
Yeah, let me get a look at one of those. So they have doors, I see. So that if somebody snores,
Or we have females, firefighters. Each individual can have their own little study area, their own lockers for to keep their personal supplies and things, and then their own room.
got it.
Just tight enough for a bunk bed and to move your knees around.
And
When you open up the cabinets, you can't go by. That's all you got. It's pretty small. So nice and organized.
good deal.
Then we got restrooms.
Yeah.
More bunk rooms.
How many bunk rooms do you have?
Because this is the primary station, we have 8 total rooms plus a battalion chief. So the purpose is if we get multiple responses necessary, we man up additional engines, we have enough to man 2 engines out of the station.
All right.
So, and we have another restroom.
Showers, of course.
Absolutely. After fires, we need to definitely decon from the soot and stuff. This is one section of about 5 or 6 that we store our equipment when we're off shift. And then we're back out into the bays.
All right. Now, what rigs do you guys have here?
We have a patrol.
Which is a brush truck.
It is a brush truck, that's correct.
All right. What else?
We have a utility vehicle. This here supplies our extra oxygen. It comes to the scenes of structure fires or major incidences. We've used it to help out with the police department or with rope rescues. It's one of those apparatus that really come and support us on some of our scenes. It has a lot of different things. It has firefighter rehab so that we can keep eyes on vitals and have the ability to help the firefighters prepare to re-entry if necessary and monitor their vital signs.
All right.
This is our engine. This is a Type 1 engine. It holds 1,000 gallons of water and 1,500 GPM pump. So it's a minimum staffing is a 3-man crew in order to make it work.
All right.
We have a water tender. It's a water truck. For areas that don't have as many hydrants, we will tone out for off-duty people to come in and get that and bring it to the scene because we don't have enough manpower to man it during the day. So we'll set off tones and they'll come in and pick it up and bring it to the scenes where we don't have as many hydrants. It holds around 4,000 gallons.
How many minutes of water is that if you're putting water on the fire?
It just depends on how bad the fire is. If the fire is a large structure fire, then we may not be able to keep up with that fire. Because 4,000 gallons, we have a 1,500 GPM pump. You recognize that that's going to go quick, but rarely do we pump that much that fast. Each hose line is typically around 150 gallons per minute of our regular attack lines.
All right.
So it'll buy us some time. It does a lot of good for us. Some fires we can put out with under 100 gallons of water. Other fires it's going to take a couple of these water tenders.
Good deal.
And then we have our battalion chief vehicle. He's our incident commander, comes to the scene and helps strategically see the bigger picture, helps us to keep everything organized and well effective. He also is the one that oversees all the operations, and it's his ultimate responsibility for safety and the way that the scene goes. Very highly trained individuals operating in that vehicle.
So now normally you have 3 firefighters and a battalion chief on a shift here, right?
At this station, yes, that is our minimum staff.
Alright, is it always true that you will take the engine, or are there calls where they will have you take a different vehicle?
It does depend on the call. For the majority of the time, we're going to take this engine for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest reasons is we take this engine to a call, maybe it's a snake call. While we are returning from that snake call, we might be dispatched to a structure fire or to somebody that needs CPR. We do not want to come all the way to the station and pick up the apparatus in lengthened time. So we do drive around in the apparatus for all hazards that we're going to come across. If we are dispatched to a wildland fire, and we may take the patrol as well. So, for instance, our firefighter Kellen would jump over to the patrol, and he would drive the patrol, and both vehicles would go.
So, okay, on a shift you typically have a captain, an engineer, and a firefighter.
Yeah, that's correct.
Plus a battalion chief who rides in his own vehicle.
Yes.
What special training do you need to be an engineer to drive this vehicle and operate it?
That's a complex question. You have to be a firefighter here, and the testing process to get on to be a firefighter is not an easy one. But to be an engineer, in order to drive this, you have to have a minimum amount of lights and siren calls that you're driving the apparatus to. You have to go through a lot of that training. That is just one board, probably of 100 boards that you'll have to go through of different trainings. This is not a case of I can drive a large apparatus, I'm going to go to the scene. No, it's a case of we have a task booklet of a whole bunch of different checklists that you have to hit in order just to drive it. Kellen is an acting engineer. He is qualified by his testing and by his training in order to drive this apparatus in the event that I ride into the hospital, or in the event that I need to be moved over to somewhere else, or I'm out sick. So he can bump up into the engineers. He's qualified for it.
Are all 3 of you paramedics also?
No, myself and my captain are paramedics, and Kellen is an EMT basic. Very valuable player. He's the one that keeps all the things going, and while we're trying to think about everything else. Very effective.
So now I assume it is true that driving the rig is the easiest part of being an engineer. I mean, physically pushing the gas, turning the steering wheel is probably not the hardest part of the job.
No, it's probably nothing different than driving a garbage truck or a delivery truck or something along those lines. It's heavy. It has 1,000 gallons of water times 8.33. There's some weight. You have to have an idea of what the public might do. We ask it everybody pulls to the right, but sometimes they don't. And so we have to, if we're driving lights and sirens, there is a lot of situational awareness that you have to be very alert and attentive to.
So what do you do, let's say a structure fire, once the vehicle is parked, you've got the wheels chalked, what do you have to worry about with the rig?
Well, I have to definitely listen to what my captain's instructions are, what his strategic plan is, what the battalion chief's plan is. My biggest goal for this is to support them, but I have to make sure that they have the proper amount of water and the proper constant flow. If they don't have it and they go into a scene that's dangerous and they don't have enough water, they could die, and I do not want that to happen. That's what a lot of those numbers are. How much pressure do you have so that they have the right flows? So this is a significant section of training. I went to a college course just for the pumping of this apparatus, not the driving, just for that, on top of all the training that we do inside this department. But I'm in charge of this apparatus. I'm in charge of everything that comes off of it. And my goal is to give them the tools that they need in a fast fashion so that they can be very effective at mitigating the problem, whether it be a car accident or whether it be a structure fire.